Day 43, one more day until transmittal. I cannot wait to go back to Butte for a break. And we heard an incredible number of bills today. We actually heard 68 bills total, 52 in the morning session and 62 in the afternoon. A lot of those were on third reading, but I'm still just talking about how many bills came across the floor. Out of those 68 bills, 34 of them had 20% or less disagreement. So out of 100 of us, either 20 or fewer voted no and the rest of us voted yes. So I am going to highlight the ones that I think are the biggest issues, but please take that in the context that we are getting the work of the state done most of the time, and there is a lot of agreement, but there are some glaring things that I just have to talk about. First of all, 2 bills failed on third reading today, and that's a win. The gun bill 384 from O'Neill failed on third reading, as did the abbreviated ballot bill by Representative Richner, House Bill 445. On second reading, we heard House Bill 230, which is tax relief that would give on average $44 to homeowners. So the average person would get $44 back, but it would give millions of dollars to big business. And I would remind you that when these politicians on the floor say that we want to give the money to the taxpayers, they're not talking about you. These politicians have drawn a very clear distinction between a taxpayer and workers over and over and over again. It's the same thing they said on the Hire Montana First Act. They do not consider workers to be taxpayers, and they want to give the money back to what they consider to be taxpayers. They're not talking about giving it to you. Don't be fooled. House Bill 324 was to allow out-of-state trapping. That passed the floor. House Bill 561 was an exempt wells bill. The sponsor during Hire Montana First, Representative Fitzpatrick from Great Falls, railed against hiring Montanans. He said he was fear-mongering and said that this bill would actually cause less jobs in Montana. I mean, it was total BS. There is no way that that's true, and it was fear-mongering at its worst. And then today he brought this House Bill 561, this exempt wells bill, and basically said that subdivisions were a better use of water than agriculture. That's not a direct quote. You can look at the hearing and see what he said, but just look at where this guy's priorities are. They're not with people. House Joint Resolution 12 was a resolution calling on Congress to pass the Violence Against Women Act. And this is such a no-brainer. I'm not big on resolutions. They don't really do anything, but why would you not just vote for this? So I would recommend that you go and look at the vote on who voted against saying that we want Congress to pass the Violence Against Women Act. Some women stood up on the House floor today and did a beautiful job in talking about this. And I'm still dumbfounded by the women who stood up on the floor and voted against it, spoke against it. This afternoon, we heard House Bill 171, which I've talked about it before. It went to appropriations because it had money in it. Once it goes to appropriations and gets changed or not, it has to come back to the House floor, so we vote on it again. So this is an ALEC bill that gives your taxpayer dollars to a corporation to look for fraud in the Medicaid system. We also passed House Bill 297, which says that businesses should use the E-Verify system, the federal E-Verify system, to make sure that the workers they hire are citizens. This actually costs some of your taxpayer dollars to implement this program, and the very same exact people who said we should not hire Montanans voted against the Hire Montana Act today voted for spending your taxpayer dollars to make sure the system is upgraded so employers can make sure that they're using the federal E-Verify system to make sure there are no undocumented workers on their workforce. Are you kidding me? We need a button that instead of saying that was easy, we need a button that says, that's ironic. We also passed House Bill 505, which was an assisted suicide bill. It would make all forms of assisted suicide illegal in Montana. No questions asked, no way around it. I would really implore you to look this up and listen to the closing speech that was given by the bill sponsor and tell me that this guy represents sane and humane Montana values. And you will be dumbfounded by what this guy said, and then realize that 53 people voted with him after this ridiculous, horrendous speech. Look it up. And then look at the vote. House Bill 515 was a bill that failed, and so there really was some reason prevailing on the House floor today. In some instances, it would have required that members' names be released in, we're talking about like union members or environmental organization members or Right to Life members or like the Family Foundation members. Their member lists get released to the general public. And that failed. House Joint Resolution 6 failed. And I'm not big on resolutions, but still, this was the short title was a resolution encouraging implementation of House Bill 166. I-166. I-166 was, thank you to my Montpurg friends for providing this chart. House Bill I-166 was the referendum that said that Montanans do not think corporations are people and should not have free speech in elections and limiting corporate donations. And you can see by this chart, there's one bar line for every county, and the green is how many people in the county supported this, and the red is how many people did not support this. And I mean, it passed like 3-1, at least 2-1 in every county in Montana. And Representative O'Neill stood up against it and said that I-166 was a government conspiracy to limit free speech by corporations. Really? Look at the vote. All I can say is you should be looking at these votes. Judge these people by their votes. One more day until I get a break. Thanks for all the encouraging words. It's really keeping me going, and I thank you for being sane and humane. I am so happy. Every day I'm more and more happy that you are out there paying attention and being involved. Keep sending messages and call this stuff out for what it is. It's crazy.